Hello everyone, this is Kiran, founder of the Kiran Academy. Today we are going to take one mock interview that will be useful for every fresher, every experienced person also if you have 1 or 2 years of experience. The candidate is Sharvari, who learned at our place, the Kiran Academy, and she graduated, then post-graduated, graduated in BSc, then post-graduated in MSc Physics. That is a non-IT background, very much non-IT, it's physics, it's not engineering, mechanical like that. It is BSc, MSc Physics. So let's see how she performs. I'm gonna ask questions to her and she will be performing. She will be telling answers, I will be correcting those and I will be guiding also. So that will be very, very useful for you. Okay, welcome Sharvari. Yeah. So can you tell me about yourself?
So basically, my name is Sharvari 𝗂𝗀𝗲 and I'm from Pune itself. I have pursued masters in physics from the 𝗳𝗶𝗵𝗁 College Institute. There I have secured a CGPA of 9.03, and from the last 6 to 7 months, I'm like getting training from the Java Kiran Academy itself of the full stack Java development course.
Okay. What you learned in that means which are the topics?
So basically, I have learned the core Java and advanced Java. In the core Java, there were OOPS concept, collection framework, exception handling, and also thread classes, string, all the programs related to string and array. And in the advanced Java, I have learned the Spring Boot, Hibernate, JDBC connectivity, MySQL MySQL database. And also front end. In front end, I have learned CSS and HTML.
Okay, so REST API and all
Yes.
you created.
Yes,
You are
sir,
aware
yeah.
about database also.
Yes, sir.
How much you rate yourself? Between 1 to 10, 1 is lowest, 10 is highest for core Java.
For the core Java, I will give myself 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
Yes.
Great. In advanced Java?
And in advanced Java, it will be 6 out of 10.
Good. Okay, so without taking much time, we'll start with the core Java.
Yes, sir.
What is object?
So basically, object can be considered as a blueprint of the class on which we can perform the various methods. Like behavior of the class, it can be considered with the help of object only.
Okay, so by creating object, what you can do?
By creating object, we can use the behavior of that class itself.
Yeah, so what you do? Generally, you created an object.
Yes, we can use the method of that class. We can use.
You can call, right?
Yes, we can access the variables of that class.
And methods of that class.
Methods of that class.
Can you access superclass of that class?
We can. Yes, we can access the superclass.
Perfect. Yes. Superclass methods, variables, everything you can call, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is package in Java?
So package in Java can be considered as a collection of classes. We can consider.
Why to create packages? What happens means what you will achieve after creating many packages?
Yes,
readability, maintainability.
Okay.
Modularity.
Okay, with the help of creating packages, we can achieve the readability, modularity. We can access all the classes with the help of packages.
What is static in Java?
So static can be one copy storage of any class. It can be object. It can be considered as static. Likewise,
okay. What is final?
Final is if we don't want to change any value of any method or variable, then we can declare it as a final.
Great. If any class is final, right, means what we cannot do?
So we cannot extend it, or we cannot
great.
Change
and if any
behavior.
Method is final, then
we cannot override it.
What is overriding?
Overriding is basically we can use the same method by just replacing its parameters or arguments.
What is method overriding?
So method overriding ke liye, we can use the method of the superclass in the subclass. So it follows the inheritance, is a relationship should be there. In the method overriding, method name should be same, the return type should be same, and argument list should be same.
Perfect, perfect. Good. So, you know collection?
Yes, sir, collection.
In collection, what do you remember in collection? What are the classes you remember?
So in collection, basically it like the collection.
What are the classes you remember?
In collection, there are
Inbuilt classes.
Inbuilt classes are interfaces, sir.
No, but any classes, na interfaces classes, whatever you remember.
So there are basically list, a map, and set. Basically, these are the three interfaces in the collection. In the collection interface, array list, linked list, hash set, hash map, then vector, tree map. These are all the classes in the collection.
Great, great. What is the difference between array list and hash set?
So in the array list, we can add the n number of, like we can add the duplicates, but in case of hash set, we cannot add the duplicates. Array list follows the list interface and like implements the list interface, and hash set implements the set interface. In case of array list, we can add the n number of null keys. Like n number of null values, but in case of hash set, we can add only one null value.
What is the difference between hash map and hash table?
So hash table is an legacy class, and hash map is like non-legacy class. So it is added in the Java 1.5, I think. So in case of hash table, we cannot allow the duplicate values, null values, but in case of hash map, we can add the null values.
Great. If this question would have been asked to me, okay. How I would have answered that, I'm telling.
Okay, sir.
What is the difference between hash map and hash table? I would have said both classes are used to add key and value pairing.
Yes, sir.
Then in both classes, we need to use put method. Okay, then I would have said hash table is a legacy class, hash map is not legacy class. Even though you said, I'm just reiterating what you said, okay?
Yes, sir.
In hash table, no null key, null value is allowed, whereas in hash map, it is allowed. That's it.
Yes, sir.
All methods of hash table is synchronized. Hash map is not synchronized. Like that, okay? Yes, so, will you remember all these points?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then coming to database. What do you know in database?
So database is basically the data of our
No, but what you know in database? What are the concepts you know in database?
Database is simply we can use to store the data of our program. The database can be used.
Okay, what is primary key?
So primary key is any unique identified key in the table. It can be considered as a primary key. So it cannot have the duplicate values. Also, it cannot have the null values.
Perfect. Yeah, unique and null. Do not forget this.
Yes, sir.
You already know, but still. Great.
Yes, sir.
So this is about
primary key.
Primary key. Okay. What is DML, DDL?
So DML is data manipulation language. DDL is data definition language, and the other is data DDL and
DCL. Data control language.
Data control language. So I have used the DML and DDL itself. So data definition language is if we can create and alter the table with the help of DDL. With the help of DML, we can use the different methods like create, insert data, like deleting data or updating data with the help of DDL.
Perfect, perfect. So that is all about database. These are the basic concepts every fresher should know. Coming to advanced Java, then what is the difference between Spring and Spring Boot?
Spring Boot is the advanced version of the Spring, but in case of Spring, we have to write the application context file. All the configuration we have to do it in the Spring, but in case of Spring Boot, we get all these like readily available in case of Spring Boot. There are predefined classes, predefined methods we can be used to create our REST APIs. Also, in case of Spring Boot, we have to we don't need to add the server in that. Like we get the embedded server like Jetty and Tomcat in case of Spring Boot. but like in the Spring we have to add like manually we have to add manually server in the Spring Boot.
Great. So like this fluency should be there.
Yes, sir.
Little bit pause should be there after points. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But you have good communication and good points. I'm seeing you know everything. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So don't jumble here and there. Okay.
Okay.
No problem. Do you know any annotations in Spring Boot?
So in the Spring Boot, we can use the annotation like controller, rest controller, request mapping, request body. Then at the
and you can tell this slowly also, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
once again you start. So what are the annotations you know in Spring Boot?
In the Spring Boot, we can add the annotations like rest controller, request mapping, request body, then component scan, @service annotation, then bean annotation.
Good. To start Spring Boot, there is a runner class, right?
Yeah.
Main method is there.
Yes, sir.
Which annotation we use in that file?
In the case of Spring Boot, we can @Spring Boot annotation only.
Perfect. @Spring Boot application annotation.
Application annotation.
Which auto configures everything.
Yes,
okay.
Sir. Yes.
Great. What is the difference between path variable and request body?
So if we need to fetch data respective of any respective key, then we use the path variable annotation. Like if we want to fetch the data of any particular key, then @path variable will be used. And if we want to fetch the whole data from the server in the form of JSON, then we will use the request body annotation.
Yeah, so request body is used to get complete data of a body, whereas path variable we can use for getting a parameterized data.
Yes,
one
sir.
parameter if you want to get like ID, key or something, right?
Yes, sir.
Great, very good. Many people not able to give these advanced Java questions. You created a project?
Yes, sir. I have
Can you
created
explain?
a project. So basically, I have made the two projects in my to add in my resume. One was the REST API development, and one was the student management portal.
Which one? Student management portal
and the REST API. Like we can fetch the data of the one institute with the help of REST API.
It's an institute management software?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Can you explain that?
So in
which one you did thoroughly?
I have did like the REST API.
Okay, so explain that. What you did in that project?
I have made an REST API which can be used to fetch the data of an institute, where we can perform the CRUD operations on it. Like we can create the data, we can add it into the database. Also we can update it, we can delete it also.
In controller, did you write methods or not?
Yes, sir. Then update data, delete data.
Perfect. So, do you remember any name of those methods?
Yes, sir. The methods were like get data, update data, delete data.
So, these are the methods you created?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. What is the difference between post mapping and get mapping?
So, post mapping is if we want to insert the data into our database, then we will use the post mapping method. And get method is used to fetch the data from the database, then we will use the get mapping method.
Correct. What is the difference between @service and @repository?
So @service is like if we want to write any service logic regarding our project, then we will use the @service annotation. And for if we want to @repository will be used as POJO classes. For the POJO classes, we use the regarding database connection, we use the @repository annotation.
Perfect. So here you write Hibernate code, right?
Yes, sir.
So @service and @repository both are same. But if you want to write business logic, you will use @service.
Yes, sir.
In that class, and if you want to use database code, then you will use @repository, where you can write Hibernate.
Yes, sir.
Do you know Hibernate?
Yes, sir. I know.
What you know in Hibernate?
So Hibernate is like open source
framework.
Open source framework.
Don't get stuck after telling some words. Okay, it's very easy.
Okay.
I think you already got placed, right?
Yes, sir.
You are very good. So don't worry. Be confident. What are the inbuilt methods in a Hibernate?
So So the Hibernate provides us the method like save or update. Actually मी नाही यूज केलेले ह्या मेथड्स.
Okay, load.
Load, get.
Correct.
Method load method, save or update, insert.
Perfect. No insert method, it's a save. Okay.
Okay.
But anyway, at fresher level, whatever knowledge is required that you already have,
Okay.
I'm testing it right from the core Java. Then I asked you advanced database and everything. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that's really good. One logical example I want to ask you. Let's say, did you ever practice code like factorial?
Yes, sir. I have.
Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Can you explain?
So basically, factorial is if we have inserted any number like n is equal to 5, then all the numbers which are less than the 5, then it will be multiplied to each other, and the final will be the factorial. So we have to use one for loop for this. So it will be fetch the numbers from n is equals to 1 to till and like up to n is equal to 5. Then we have to add then we have to multiply all the numbers one by one, and then the factorial will be printed.
Great. Can you explain how to calculate prime number?
So in basically, prime number is a number which can be which have the factor of 1 and the number itself. So we can do the prime number program like we can check if the number is divisible between 2 and the number which is less than that number. Then if the remainder comes to 0, then it cannot be the prime number. But if the number is not divisible by any of the number between the 2 and that number, then it will be a prime number.
Great. Okay, great. Really, I liked it. Some of the questions from physics, maybe I will ask. You have physics concepts?
Yes, sir.
What is centrifugal force?
So centrifugal force is basically if any thread is like bounded to a stone, then if we are rotating a stone with the help of the centralized force which will be act on the stone, it will be centrifugal force itself.
In real life, where you use physics concepts?
So all around all the concepts in surrounding.
What you are seeing here, what in between us, what is physics going on?
So this is the light, like which converting we are getting, we can see the light. So basically it is the physics only. So in the
so which
light,
concept is getting used that we are seeing light?
In the light we can see the photoelectric effect.
In light there is a
photoelectric effect, like we are getting this light towards us, then it is the photoelectric effect.
What is speed of light?
So speed of light is like 3.8 into 10 to the power 9.
Okay, what's velocity?
Velocity is changing the speed with respect to time. It will be considered as
what is
velocity.
acceleration to gravity?
So acceleration is gravity change in the velocity with the effect change in the velocity of any object irrespective of the gravitational force. It can be considered as acceleration due to gravity.
How much gravity at the moon?
Gravity at the moon, I think it will be like 11 times the gravity of the earth.
Really?
Yes, sir.
What's the gravity on the earth?
Gravity on the earth is like, what are you asking?
What is the gravity on the earth? How much gravity? Gravitational force?
Yes, 9.8. It will be considered as acceleration due to gravity.
Who invented the concept of gravity?
So the basically gravity was invented when the Newton was sitting like under the apple tree. But before that also gravity was into the studied, which was studied by the Nicholas, and also there were scientists like Kepler who invented the gravitational force. Okay,
what is this first law of there is first law, second law? Kiska hai wo? Newton. What is the first law of Newton?
So the first law of Newton will be considered as for any like if the first law is if we applying any force, then if we are applying any force to any object, then there will be the acceleration.
What is second law?
second law is like inertia. Unless and until we are applying any force, then unless and until we are applying any force on the object, it will not change its position. And the third law will be if we are doing.
So you are expert in physics, you want to say?
Yeah.
Than the Java.
Yes, sir.
But now you become Java means expert, right?
Yes, sir.
You're trying to understand it.
Yes,
But
sir.
it's really good thing that you got placement also. Congratulations for that.
Thank
Okay.
you, sir.
Really good. But I'm seeing when I started talking about physics, you got excited and you started giving answers like anything. That's really great. What is thermodynamics?
So thermodynamics
It's basic. You just explain me what is thermodynamics. Let's say some person, very layman, means basic, he doesn't know anything. Only he read a word about called thermodynamics.
Anything
In
related.
simple words, you explain. You want to use Hindi, you use. But I want to know what is thermodynamics.
So thermodynamics is basically all the processes related to heat. Like if we are heating any object, then all the processes which are included in that object, which will be happen in that object, all these are related to the thermodynamics.
I didn't understand actually. Can you explain in Hindi properly, slow?
Okay, so
our audience want to know what is thermodynamics. Okay.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Okay, so thermodynamics is basically related to heat, टेम्परेचर. जब हमने किसी भी ऑब्जेक्ट को हम जब हीट प्रोवाइड करते हैं तो उसमें जो प्रोसेस होते हैं लाइक एक्सोथर्मिक, एंडोथर्मिक, ऑल दीज आर रिलेटेड टू थर्मोडायनेमिक्स.
Was these questions correct?
Yes, sir, correct.
Well, I am not so much expert in that. I'm Java specialist. Okay. Yeah. I hope those were valid questions, right?
Yes, sir, definitely.
Okay, so thank you for giving mock interview. But when you are a fresher, any questions can be asked. I wanted to check your confidence. When you are BSc, then MSc means 5 years you spent in physics.
Yes, sir.
So if you become expert in that, you can become expert in Java as well.
Yes, sir.
That was a concept.
Yes,
somebody might think like, why he's asking physics? No, nothing like that. See, 5 years you studied.
Yes,
so
sir.
it is expected that you should be knowing it.
Yes, sir.
Likewise, Java you learned 5-6 months.
Yes,
so
sir.
I'm not expecting too much knowledge out of you. Slowly, gradually it will be coming. No miracle gonna happen that tomorrow you'll be understanding everything, right?
Yes, sir.
But it's a process. In real interviews also, same thing interviewers will be checking.
Yes, sir.
They will be seeing whether candidates will be able to grasp or not, whether candidate is able to speak or not, whether candidate is feeling confident or not. Okay, anyway, so what I wanted to say is like confidence. When I asked you questions about physics, you didn't hesitate.
Yeah.
You just started giving answers. That is one good characteristic I liked. So that's really good. That is knowledge for me also. Whatever I can recall from my previous qualification. I learned physics in 12th. Still I remember these words, right? So it is expected that people should remember.
Yes, sir.
People should not take things lightly, because life is not so light. It's very precious, valuable. So that is how it is. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So last question, what is atom?
So atom is the likewise object in the Java. Same is atom in the physics. So any basic unit of any molecule, it can be considered as atom.
Yeah, I'm seeing you are more confident when I ask about physics.
Yes, sir.
You are not that confident. You are confident, but compared to when I ask about physics, you are more and more confident, and I really like that. Great. Last question, but not least, in Java. Straight, what is difference between core Java and advanced Java, which you learned? It's
so
very simple.
So
Elaborate in proper way, proper descriptive manner. Any layman person should understand. कोर जावा हम सीख रहे नहीं, हम तो एडवांस जावा सीख रहे जी. तो दोनों में अंतर क्या है?
So there is nothing like to differentiate between core Java and advanced Java. All the concepts we are using in the core Java, that can be the application of the core Java is basically the advanced Java.
Perfect. Application of core Java
is advanced Java.
Is advanced Java. Very good. Means advanced Java is very incomplete without
core Java.
Advanced Java is not a 1% without
Core Java. Yes.
Basic, good, thank you. And guys, try to understand by this interview. This was very different interview I tried to took. She was not prepared before her interview. This is just surprising. I called her. She was here. She came for another shoot of the placement, and I asked her to give interview, and she surprised, but she gave it very wonderfully, and I really liked it. You might have understood, if she can do, you can do. She has non-IT background, very different background. You might have seen when I asked her physics question, she was very expertise in that. In Java, she was jumbling, but I would say not stopping herself. She's pushing herself to go ahead, and that is what you all need to do. These are all mock interviews, not to judge candidate. I am here to judge. You are nobody to judge. It's none of your business. Your business is to pause questions. Try to speak those questions, answer by yourself. And if you are correct, go ahead. If you are not correct, pause there and there. Prepare yourself. So hope you also enjoyed this interview.
Yes, sir. Very
Really?
much. Yes, sir.
What's feedback you have for this interview? What
So
you
it
learned?
was basically the interaction between you and me. So like how we should give the answers that I have like learned in throughout this interview.
Okay. Thank you, Sharvari. Thank
Thank you, sir.
I really liked it. Thank you. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Best wishes for your future.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.